Typical, in a rush, cold winter's morning, car won't start, got to get to work, got to get the kids to school. What are we going to do? Well, I think we're going to have to jump start it. Okay, jump leads out of boot. Yes, you have got a set of jump leads in your boot, haven't you? Always remember, black, negative, red, positive. Now let's look under the bonnet, find our battery, or find a point that we can connect to. In this particular instance, we've looked for the battery, there isn't one. A lot of cars these days actually have the battery somewhere else, but we've nevertheless got a connection point. Big red cable coming into that, so that's the point for our red cable. And we can pick up an earth, a negative earth, pretty much anywhere. Suspension points like this are always a good point to do so. Always, always, always negative first. Clamp it on, make sure it's nice and secure. Positive next. Making sure the other two ends aren't touching. So here we are, all connected up on the patient car. Now we need to go and ask a neighbour a favour. What are we going to put on the other end of these? The other car. You see, there are good Samaritans around. Found one kindly neighbour with enough time before he rushes off to work to get us started. Jump leads in hand. Remember, black, negative, red, positive. Don't let them touch at any point. And locate the two terminals on the donor car battery and connect up. Always, always negative first, like so. In this case, you need to lift the little plastic cap, as you do on most of them. Doesn't matter that this battery is quite a lot smaller. It should be sufficient in a moment when we start it up to start a much larger car. They usually only need a little bit of a charge to get going. Now, as you'll have noticed, I'm around the other side of the car. It is so easy to be that side of the car, and then you can't walk between the two cars because the cables are there. So connect up, walk all the way back round, persuade your neighbour to climb into his car. He needs to set the engine running at about 1500 RPM. Just doing it at idle won't help. It won't develop enough charge to pump that battery up. So about 1500 RPM, you need to give it a couple of minutes to get enough charge from that to your car to get it started. So patience. A couple of minutes and then let's go and try it. Well, there's a big sigh of relief. At last you're started. And we need to safely disconnect the two cars and then you can go about your business. But do bear in mind, you're running a little bit late. Don't try and make up the time. Just drive at normal speeds. But let's get disconnected first. Do remember when you're disconnecting the cables, once the engine's running, all these parts are rotating. Engine bays are dangerous places. Donor car first. Live. Neutral, making sure they don't touch. Round to your car, live, hold them two together, neutral, all disconnected, all safe. Make sure you put the cap back on your neighbour's car battery. Big thank you to your neighbour, he's done you a big favour. Let him put the bonnet down, check that it's down safely. Make sure you put any bits back on your battery, or in this case on the connection point. Close the bonnet up, make sure it's all secure. So just to recap, a few safety reminders. Ensure both cars are in neutral, handbrake on. Ensure before you connect the batteries that both sets of keys have been removed. Then do the connections. And do remember, once you've opened that bonnet, if there's engine parts moving, once you get the engine started, you're at some risk. So be careful with ties, jewellery and things that might become entangled. So once you're in, you're under the bonnet, ensure you don't bridge the battery terminals with stray cables. Do ensure that the cables don't touch, positive, negative, remember, hold them apart, okay? And if you're tempted, if you're a smoker, don't go smoking under the bonnet. There are toxic fumes in there which could result in a fire. And if you've not been maintaining your battery, and I suspect if it hasn't started the car, you haven't, there may be crystals around the battery terminals. Don't touch them with bare skin. They are acidic and skin burns could be a result. If you get those on your skin, wash your hands as quickly as possible. And so, at last, your day starts here.